Hi everyone, my name's Anne-Marie. Welcome to this Spellbinders card making project. This is the last of this week's little mini-series for Christmas. We've had two Anna Griffin projects and we've had two Spellbinders projects, all for Christmas. So this is sort of like the last one for the week, and I hope you've enjoyed it. The items that we're going to use today from Spellbinders are the Merry Christmas 3D stamp, the Poinsettia 3D stamp, and the chemise layering frames. Now I know there's probably a real long fancy title for the chemise dies, but it escapes me at the moment, so you'll have to forgive me. I shall put the details on my blog as always. But it's such a pretty set, I'm always blinded by the prettiness of it, so it's made me have amnesia just for the second. So it's a really pretty set of dies. There's 4 dies in total and they're very versatile. So check out my blog for the details of that. In fact, all the details of everything that I always use are always listed on my blog. I've turned the comments back on YouTube so that you can comment now and I can click like, but I can't reply on YouTube. So if you're wanting a reply, stick to my blog or Facebook for replies or contact me directly. But on YouTube, then it's just I'm gonna read them all and click like. I can't emphasize this enough really, because I don't want you thinking that I'm rude by not replying. So the first thing that we need is our base card, and that's a 7x5 inch card. It's my favourite size, and that's how it looks on our cardometer. If you're across the pond, this size here is the A3, but in Europe it's the A5, which is the A4 folded in half, and then the smaller size is our A6, but it could be A2 if you're across the pond. So that's where our card sits, and it just gives you perspective of what size that I'm working with, to give you an idea at home. So the first thing that we're going to do is use our bone folder to make sure we've got a nice sharp score along the edge. There we go. This card I think is a little bit of an alternative style of Christmas card. It's slightly darker, without all the foiling and everything, and it's just something a little bit different. I hope you like it anyway. So the first thing I've done is for the inside, because I know how much you like the ideas for the inside. So I've used the 3D Merry Christmas stamp, and I've stamped it using Dove Grey Stays On ink. And then I've taken a marker, and I use the Curatech watercolour markers. And in that pack there's a very pale grey, and I've just taken it along and I've shadowed the actual word Merry Christmas inside the gaps of the letters, and then I've tapped a red ink pad around the edge, so then it's ready for us to insert into our card. There's enough room left for your messages to write to and from, and it's going to match perfectly to the outside of our card. So I'm just going to use my bone folder again to make sure I've got a good sharp crease. Now the base layer for the front of the card is a black layer. This is where I think it's kind of like an alternative coloured Christmas card. So I've cut this to fit using my Spellbinders rectangle set A and B. And if my memory serves me correctly, this is set A. And then for the inside, I always use the largest of set B because that fits perfectly. So that's our base layer for the front of the card. So the next layer is from the chemise die set. So I've used the largest of the dies to cut out the first layer. Now I can't emphasize enough just how pretty this is. The fine detail in the actual die. If you're picking all the detail up, I hope you are. It's just so pretty. I've put double-sided foam on the back of it, and I'm simply going to place it on top of our previous layer. Now, before I do anything else, that just looks stunning. The black through the ivory card, it just looks so nice. But we're going to keep going, and we're going to make it even nicer. So the next layer that I've got is just a plain black card layer, because in the set of the dies you get the main square again to be able to cut out a blank base. So I'm just going to stick that through the centre of our card. Next, again in the set, you get you get one fancy embellishment die, and I've cut it twice in ivory cardstock. Now I've just got a little bit of double-sided tape on the back of this because I'm going to keep it flat, and I'm just going to add that through the centre of our previous layer. So again on the second one, through the centre of our previous layer. There we go, so they cross over. So already it looks like quite a piece of work. The next thing I've done is I've stamped using the Merry Christmas stamp. There we go. And I've coloured it in with my watercolour pens using the red. And then where the snowflakes are in the background, I've just used a little bit of glitter glue just to give just a tiny bit of sparkle. And then on top I've used glossy accents onto the actual words Merry Christmas, so that's picking it up nicely there on the camera. And then I've left it to dry. I've got double-sided foam on the back of it, and I've cut round it. Now I've cut round it in no particular shape, as it were. I've just done it freehand, and then I'm going to place it through the centre of the layers that we've just added. And finally, to finish the card, I've used the 3D Poinsettia stamp. Now once I've stamped them, the poinsettias, I've trimmed them a little bit because I want them to fit onto my card. I watercoloured them, and then I added a little bit of glossy accents to them and let them dry. I've got double-sided foam on the back. I've made 3 of them, and I'm simply going to add these just around the edge of my card, like that. And that finishes off the card perfectly. I think it's such a pretty card, and I'm just going to move that one to balance it out a little bit. Just down a little bit. There we go. That's better. Looked a bit precise before. Such a pretty card. It shines. You've got the glossy accents, and then you've got the inside that matches perfectly. It stands up nicely, and it's just very different, something a little bit darker. You could go with different colours, you could go with different colours for your poinsettias, you could make it all ivory and black. That would look stunning. I wanted to add just that little bit of colour to it so that you could see it and as it stands out for the actual 3D shading on the stamps. It really is a pretty card, and that die set, I think everybody should have that in their stash because the detail in it is exceptional. So it stands up nicely. We've got a little bit of 3D-ness for postage and packing. We've got a couple of layers, but not too much that it would affect the postage massively. Might need a little bit of padding putting it in your envelope just to protect the lacy details. But I think that is a really pretty different style of Christmas card, just to give you an idea through the week that we've had. So everything that I've used, I'll put details on my blog. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.